Welcome to the Survivor's Chair podcast, a podcast where we break down our stories and our trauma, understanding how they have impacted our career and our life. This is a place where we break free from shame, own our truth, and step into our power, one story at a time. Hi, I'm Kim, an adoptee, a former foster youth, hairstylist, salon owner, breast cancer, and complex trauma survivor. So join us, pull up a chair, in this no sugarcoating, no holding back, honest conversation about healing and success. Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 18 of the Survivor's Chair podcast. I can't believe we're up to 18. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your support. The messages I receive, I'm just blown away, and I'm so happy that this stuff is resonating with so many of you. If you don't know me, my name is Kim Russell. I am the host. I am an adoptee, a hairstylist, a salon owner, a breast cancer survivor, and a former foster youth. This episode is going to be a little off the cuff, shall we say. I don't really have anything planned, but there's something I want to talk about that I think is important. And the last 17 episodes, we've talked about a lot of kind of heavy stuff and stuff about, trauma and what it does to us and how it impacts our life and how it infiltrates different areas and we don't know it, and why we do the things that we do, which is really important. Sometimes you think, oh, there's just something wrong with me. What's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? Why can't I focus? Why can't I pull it together? Or how come I'm not motivated? All these things. And then you get on social media and that makes it even worse. So understanding why you do what you do and that the things that have happened in your life impact all of those things. And once you learn about it and you know what it is, it kind of changes everything. And you're like, okay, all right. And then you dig deep and you learn more about yourself. You become more emotionally aware and you get to the root of things and the triggers, as we like to call them, even though that's not one of my favorite words, but when you start to know yourself and approach life a little bit different. So this episode, I wanted to talk about giving yourself a pat on the back. I just did a podcast interview with my friend Lorraine O'Connell, and the name of the podcast is escaping me. I will put it in the show notes. And her business is Peers for Fears, and she does leadership for teenagers. So we have been talking about what it was like to be a foster youth and how, with her being a former teacher, how could she help somebody? And what were some of the things that was my cry for help? We talked about how behaviors in children is really the first sign of communication because we don't know how to express what's going on in our body. We know we're afraid or we know that we're angry. We don't know how to communicate those things. So we communicate them through our behaviors. It just opened my eyes a little bit when I get off of that podcast interview as to how far I've really come in life. Despite having breast cancer a year and a half ago, it's still pretty amazing that I've made it through and doing all the things that I'm doing. So I want this podcast to be about you, the listener, taking a minute and recognizing where you are, where you come from, what you've survived, all that you've been through, and all that you've rose above. And I just want you to be proud of yourself. I want you to take a minute and be proud of yourself. For those of us who grew up with nothing financially and have made a successful life, for those of us who didn't have the opportunities to get, further education, yet took it upon ourselves to go out and get educated and learn more. For those of us who didn't have stability and people who cared for us or took care of us, that have grown up to have amazing people around them and friendships and created their own family. For people who have struggled in a violent home, yet have come out the other side to support and care for people and have empathy for people who are going through the same thing. I just want you to be really proud of where you've come from, because we don't spend enough time looking back and seeing the achievements, no matter how big or how small. Every achievement is big in my book. Success comes in so many different wrappers, and success means something different to so many people. Success for me is not financial. It's not stuff. It's having this amazing quality friendships and people around me that truly, truly, genuinely love me and care about me and want the best for me. Having fun and living life. That to me is success. If you had asked me 25 years ago what success was working 14, 15 hours a day, 6 days a week, taking clients every half an hour, and not taking lunch, and not going to the bathroom, and not sleeping, and taking care of everybody else. That would have been success to me then, even though it was slowly killing me. But it's so different now. People are quick to say, I should be doing more. Look at so-and-so on Instagram, they're doing this, and I should be doing this. I should have this by now. I should have that by now. And that is so not true, because everything comes in the time that it's supposed to come. And I do think the more that we resist the natural flow of life, that doesn't mean don't have goals, don't strive for things. And resistance, I mean, is like we're going down that wrong path and we can feel it, but we don't pay attention to it because, again, it's our body is the first to know. Our brain is the last to know. So we feel it in a different way. And like I said before, in the stomach aches and the headaches and the anxiety and the depression and all of the things. We don't pay attention to that, but we're really not living the life that aligns with what we truly want to be. Maybe you've always had a dream of being a singer, but you're like, oh, I couldn't be a singer. Like, that would be unacceptable because people wouldn't approve of that. What would my family say? What would this person say? What would my friends think of me? They never even knew that I sang. And we do that stuff in our head, and we fight it. And I guarantee you, when we are lying on our deathbed, we are not going to say, I am so happy I didn't chase that singing dream. We are not going to say, I am so happy I worked so much. I am so happy that I gave up all my free time for somebody else. We're not going to say that. We're going to say, I wished I took the vacation. I wish I spent time with this person. I wish I followed that instinct in my gut that wanted to sing from the rooftops, but I was too scared to do it. And I say this from somebody who's a little bit of a chicken in some things that I want to do right now. And I think that's normal, but I'm not going to let it hold me back to the point of never doing it. No, it's not to be a singer either. I have one tone, as Dave tells me, I have one tone. So I want everybody to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, get a piece of paper and start from when you can remember your accomplishments. Fear of the water, learning how to swim. Fear of heights, climbing the mountain. Fear of lots of people and going to the party. Write down all the things that you have overcome that were really hard. If you have social issues and it's really hard for you to go to a party, especially a party where you don't know somebody, and you get the courage to go, like, pat on the back. Because if we don't celebrate the wins, we're only going to focus on the things that we don't think that we've accomplished. If you've raised some amazing children, people who stay-at-home moms, they struggle with, but I don't have a career and I should be doing this. Are you kidding me? Staying home and taking care of kids and raising amazing adults, because that's what having children is all about. It is raising amazing adults. So to teach them how to be strong and independent and compassionate and empathetic and tolerant and curious, and not let the world take them out, because the world is going to try to take you out a million times. We know that. We know that as adults. So to create these amazing adults, that is a freaking hard job, which is why I don't have any children. I've always said I rent them. I rent them from everybody else, which I've loved. I'm the best auntie in the world. But that's a big job. So pat yourself on the back when you are pooped and you're coming home and you're cooking dinner and you worked all day, or you drove your kids around everywhere and you did all the chores, whatever you did, like pat yourself on the back. Take a minute to celebrate yourself. And that's what being on my friend's podcast was for me the other day. It was, wow. I could have gone down so many different paths. It could have been a completely different life for me. I was angry. I was, scrappy. I'm not going to lie. I was a little scrappy in my 20s. And that could have been my whole life. I could have spent my whole life angry and mad at the world and poor me and woe is me. And I overcame. I wanted something different. And I do think part of wanting something different was part of a survival tactic, but it has worked out really, really well for me, that survival tactic. We do what we do when we're younger to survive. And sometimes we beat ourselves up over things that we did and choices that we made. And trust me, I have a slew of them that I could beat myself up about, but I don't judge myself on things that I did in my past, because everything I did in my past was based on protecting myself and surviving in a world that I didn't think I was going to be able to survive in a world that I didn't trust. So I do not pass judgment or beat myself up over anything that I did. And instead, I celebrate myself on being able to not be stuck in that protection and survival mode still to this day without trusting anybody in the world. That's a hard place to live, very hard place to live. I made different choices to believe in the world, that there's good people in the world, and there are so many good people in the world. And I'm blessed to be around so many of them. So many amazing, great friends. Great family. I'm not perfect. I will continue to say that every single podcast. Life isn't about being perfect, but I want to celebrate you. I want you to celebrate you. And again, this is an off-the-cuff podcast, not going to be very long today, but I want you to take that piece of paper down. I want you to write down some of the things that you've accomplished, that you've done. Just be really proud of yourself and celebrate yourself. Please, we don't do that enough. And we celebrate other people, right? That's really easy for us to do. We can go up and tell somebody, like, you did a great job. I'm so proud of you. That was amazing. You did this, you did that. But we have a hard time telling ourselves that. We have a hard time complimenting ourselves. We have a hard time taking compliments from other people. It's hard to accept when somebody tells you you look beautiful, you are beautiful, you're loved, and all the things. It can be very hard to accept. So I want you to celebrate yourself. So write those things down. You want to message me on social media and share some of them with me? I would love to hear about them. Absolutely love to hear about them. I don't care how small they are. Even if it's just listening to one of these podcasts and had no idea that something that you were doing was directly connected to a story of your past. Tell me, that's a win. That's a win. I'd love to hear it. So anyways, my friends, this is a short one. I'm going to link the podcast that I am on with my friend, Lorraine O'Connell. This was a 2-part series. This was the second part. I'm not sure if the first part is up yet, but anyways, her guests are amazing. What she does is amazing. Going from chemistry teacher to leadership for teens is just spectacular. I love it. And imagine if we had the leadership skills as teenagers, the conflict skills, the communication skills. What? That would have been amazing. Because the bottom line is we're all leaders. If you're a parent, you're a leader. If you're a coach, you're a leader. If you're an entrepreneur, you're a leader. Sometimes you're the leader at work, but you don't have the title, but you take on the role of leader. So my friends, I want to thank you again for being here. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being real. Thank you for sharing with me. And let's celebrate each other as much as we can. And I will see you next time in the Survivor's Chair. Thank you for tuning into the Survivor's Chair podcast. You can head over to my website, www.kimrussellpro.com. That's KIMRUSSELLPRO.com. You can catch up on my blogs, follow me on social, on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or TikTok. All the links will be in the show notes, and I'll see you next time in the Survivor's Chair.